This week we've been looking at listings, and on Amazon, you don't win by having the best product, you win by having the best page. So today we're looking at real listings from real brands, and we're going to show you what actually drives conversion and what kills it. Let's go.
Ali, I know we're going to be looking at some optimizations that we can do for listings today, but I thought it would be really good to start off with one of our own because we can actually look at the impact that these optimizations can have. So the example we've got here is with Illy Coffee. We made these changes. We've been making them for about a period of 12 months. What's really interesting is down to these, we can pinpoint down to these optimizations. We've improved the click-through rate on this listing by 70%, okay? And that means we're getting more traffic, almost 2/3 more traffic through to the listing from the same search terms. And not only have we managed to maintain the conversion rate, we've actually improved it to 46%. So overall, we're almost doubling the number of sales just tracked back to these optimization changes. They really can add value, can't they?
Yeah, 100%. And the optimization changes are things like the description, the bullet points, the title, and the images. It's nothing heavy, nothing crazy, no need to go into all the meta and that part of things. Just the basics, getting that down right makes all the difference.
So why don't we take a look at some unoptimized or some listings that maybe haven't been as well optimized, and then you can kind of take us through the key points that we should be focusing on.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Ali, you're the one that's much more qualified to talk about this because you get good design. I kind of know what I like and what I don't like, and I really don't like this. And I know you're going to give me a hard time because it's the product that I don't like the image. It's killing me.
Yeah, okay, so that image is all, so for anyone who can't see this is basically Batana oil, and it's in this black, what looks like what you'd buy your car oil in, jerry can equivalent kind of thing. And it's dark and it's not appealing. That's what you're picking up on, I think.
Yeah, truly. And I'm just thinking, I've had a look at now on a couple of other lists, on the search term that this comes up under, and the others look like they're beauty products. They're things that you put on your person, right? That you put on your face and stuff. And some of these, they look really appealing. And then you've got this, like you said, it's a jerry can. It's something is like I would pour oil into my car from.
Yeah.
So I have a problem with the product, but to be fair, if that's what your product looks like, then you've got to optimize it the best you can. I'm just feeling that those variation themes, thumbnails, they could have made better choices with those for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we look at the primary image, because what I think about when I see a listing, especially the images, I think about three kind of very basic kind of principles. The first one is the primary image likely to win on the search results page? Do they have a clear and concise set of messages, benefits over features, stuff like that? And then do they properly represent the brand? Those are the three things I care about, generally look at when I'm looking at a listing. This one, especially on what you just said, is not likely to win on the search results page, right? Because the primary image just doesn't do it justice. It could be an amazing product, and it's got loads of reviews. There's over 8,000 reviews on it, but it just...
Yeah, 4-star rating, not too bad. It's averaging, it's middling there. Even if you got through to the product details page, I feel that, those images are the wrong ones, right? Each of those are different types of oil. They should have chosen a different variation theme. They shouldn't be using thumbnails of the primary image, especially given how poor it is. On other points, it's fulfilled by Amazon, right?
Yeah, so this is
promos on there.
Yeah, that's the kind of other sort of stuff I kind of tend to look at, which is other than the written text, are there the key signals that would help a customer want to buy, right? So reviews, the delivery promise, like you mentioned, is it Prime? And so this one is Prime. It dispatches from Amazon. It's good. It's got quite a few reviews, loads of reviews, but there's only 4 stars, right? And so if your competitors have much higher stars, you're going to struggle.
So the weakness on this is the primary image, and particularly the product, actually. They could have improved it. They have filled the whole space. I quite like that. I think with a different variation theme, that would have helped. I think that they could do something to improve that primary image.
Yeah. And it's not just the primary image. I mean, there's stuff to improve on the images themselves, and we may not have time to go through all of them one by one, but the key thing there is the images could be better. they're probably not representing the brand as well as they could be and the product as well as they could be, to really encourage the customer to understand the product, know what it is, and know that this is the one they're looking for and add it to their basket.
One final point on this, the title. Anything you would do to improve that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of things in there, but like, again, going back to my rough principles on title and just the description and the bullet points is, do they adequately describe the product? Do they pepper in the key search terms? And then have they described the product with the customer in mind? I think through those three kind of like key principles. And in this case, probably not. There could probably be more search terms to pop in there that better describe the product, especially in the title. And looking through the description, they're okay, but I don't know if they're in with the customer in mind. They've got quite a few, which is great. And if someone's skim reading through, so could they quickly catch the key principles and the key things that they want to know about the product? Probably not.
I think you're right. I think this is very much one that's been created with the product in mind rather than the customer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at the next option. Scalp protein bars, chocolate and almond and caramel.
Scrumptious.
A severe lack of images, I feel, first point.
Well, yeah, there's only 3 images. Amazon gives you 9 images. You can load up to 9 of them in there. And there's a reason why they do that, right? So there's that principle of Miller's Law that we talk about, where a person can only have a certain number of thoughts in their mind at the same time, at one time, before it starts to kind of have diminishing returns. And there's a reason why Amazon gives you 9 images to choose from, because it gives you a chance to have a really concise, clear benefit on each image that you send through to the customer as they're clicking through and swiping through really fast. And this product may have loads of really cool benefits that they're just not emphasizing, or they're not really doing justice for the product.
If we have a look at the secondary image on this as well, I mean, they've only got a couple, but in terms of a nutrition table, are you happy with that one?
I'd probably do this slightly different. I mean, it's okay. At least it's not a screen grab from the label. But at the very least, what they've got here is the product. If someone is coming in to buy this, what they really care about is how much protein is in there. So you want to really emphasize that. That's your key winning point on this, that you've got 26 grams of protein per 100 grams and 15 per bar. That's awesome. Shout out about that. And maybe do that slightly clearer, just to make it really clear. This is the selling point. This is what you want to look at.
So they've done that in the title. So there's a tick for them on that one, right?
Yeah.
If we go into the primary image, is it as visible on the primary image? Not really. I mean, I can see they put it on the box, but it's not really front and center. And we also know it's a 12-pack, right?
Exactly. And it goes back to that initial principle, right? Is this likely to win on the search results page? Keeping in mind, most people are looking at their search results page on their phone. So are those key messages that you want the customer to understand before they even get a chance to come on your listing to swipe around? Are those adequately conveyed and appropriately conveyed within Amazon's rules on that primary image? And if they're not, fix that. So what these guys could have done is they could have had digitally at least enhanced the 15 gram. We can kind of just read, but then you would also want to have the other things that are in there. How many bars are in there? Those kind of key benefits, so that when I'm on a search results page and I can see all your competitors and they are shouting out those messages and you're not, my eyes are drawn there, I'm going to click there, and you will lose out on customers.
Now, very quick point, 4.2 average rating, that's strong, but there's only 8 reviews on it, so not as great. But I think the real weakness on this one is it's not shipped by Amazon.
Yes. So that makes such a difference, right? So we've seen, and I think you look at the data on this, right? So and how much difference it makes when a product is sold on Prime and has that Prime badge.
I mean, anecdotally, we talk about sort of like a 400% uplift, 4 times increase, but in actual aspects, it's probably significantly greater, just because that 4 times initial increase then improves your organic ranking, which improves your visibility, which then starts this virtuous cycle that increases and grows your sales through. So it's just a tremendously significant inflection if you move to Prime.
Yeah, and so to emphasize that point and make it clear, simply by having it in Prime, you're going to 4x your sales, and that's the only key thing you need to do. So just make sure you have unless it's a strong business case for not having Prime, make sure you have Prime.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next listing. Sticking with the protein and chocolate theme.
Scrumptious.
I'm liking this more, right? I'm just going to say from the outset, I like the primary image. I'm sure you're going to find some faults with it. That's cool. I'm now that that was my initial impression. But now I'm like, actually, I can't see how much protein there is in these bars.
Yeah,
that's the downside.
exactly.
But overall, like, it's a better laid out image than the last one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so look, what it does is it does kind of show inside the product, and it does show that's quite tempting, right? Because it does look good. Great, well done. But it could be better laid out. And again, is this likely to win on the search results page? If it is, great, you're doing a good job. But if you aren't pushing those key USPs and those key benefits that your competitors should be, and if they're not, you should do it anyway, those key benefits, then you're going to miss out on customers.
They have got multiple images in there, so that's a real plus for them there. I'm now noticing that the title, though, is missing the number of grams of protein. Looking at these secondary images, some of them are quite good, but it's this cognitive overload thing. So this is Miller's Law, right? Cognitive overload. There's a little bit too much information being passed through each of these images, right? Each one's trying to do too much, in which case you pretty much end up not communicating any information, right?
Yeah, because what people are doing when they're coming in to buy these products and they're buying them on Amazon is they're just swiping. Like, just think about your own behavior. When it's not something super expensive, like a set of protein bars, which are not cheap, but still, it's not like going to break the bank. You're just swiping quickly just to kind of get through and understand what the product is. And if there's too many things on one page, you're not going to read it. You need to make it really easy for you to understand. So one benefit per image. And if you want to back it up with some features and things that kind of support that benefit, great. But think benefits, then features, and only one of them per image.
I'm noticing obviously 3.9, which is not a great. We still got 4 stars, but it's getting slightly worrying on the scale there, I would say, the lower reviews. I'm wondering if any of the other flavors might actually possibly have slightly better ratings. I got 4.1 on the chocolate peanut. Nothing on the orange chip. It's worth pointing out Amazon's now breaking out reviews. So for different flavors, they're no longer compounded and consolidated together. Some categories do still keep those, but most categories are losing these consolidated reviews now. So again, from a listing or an advertising perspective, because I know all of these were picked up through ads, probably want to advertise your strongest rating rather than necessarily your strongest selling flavor. They have got Prime though, so that's a good sign. They do have
Prime, which is great. Well done. And just looking at the kind of bullet points, the key kind of like USPs, just keep in mind these bullet points, what they need to do is they need to, 1, sell the product, but 2, also have all the key search terms that you're coming up and you're optimizing for the search engine and AI and Rufus. And while we have thoughts on this, nevertheless, just be prepared. And one simple thing you can do is just have your key benefit in capitals at the beginning of each bullet point. That way, if someone's just skimming through, they're not going to sit and read the whole thing. They're going to catch that key message that you want to convey to them. And then everything that goes behind it is all the features, and peppered in throughout that are the search terms that kind of help the SEO of your listing. They haven't quite done that here. They've got a green emoji tick, which is cool, but now we know that the general consensus is don't have emojis in your bullet points. So that I would optimize and I would correct that.
I know you've mentioned keywords, and I just want to point out, so both of these listings have been found under the advertising term chocolate. Yeah. And I just want to point out, so one of the problems or challenges on chocolate is the high fat, sugar and salt regulations, which means that chocolate can't actually be advertised as a product. Amazon therefore has a huge, because it's a massive search term, huge amount of inventory of search available, but no products it can advertise. Pretty much all of these products you can see came up on the search results for the word chocolate. And I suspect what's happened is most of them have the search term chocolate in them. They've switched on auto campaigns, I'm going to bet here. And so auto campaigns is like, oh, where can I sell? I've got all this traffic for chocolate. I'm going to sell the chocolate traffic through to these protein bars. and there's not much relevance here. So you've got a very high likelihood that these are going to be getting clicks, but not conversions. Particularly if we look slightly lower down the page and look at actually what are the best organic results here. Look like, oh, we've got Heroes from Cadbury's, we've got Kit Kat, we've got Lindor. Ferrero Rocher, this is what people typing in chocolate are actually buying. They're not buying protein bars.
Yeah, exactly. So that means, so how do you correct for this, Zamir? Do you want to just tell the people how to correct for that?
Well, first of all, don't be very careful with auto campaigns, right? Don't just leave it to run on its own, which has happened here. And negate. So if go in and actually look at the search terms under auto campaigns to see where your money's been spent. Look at the search terms and look at what your click and conversion rate is. And if it's not performing, if you haven't got a strong enough ROAS, even if you're getting a high number of clicks, you shouldn't be leaving it in an auto campaign. You should be moving it into a manual campaign so you can target it specifically. But definitely using negative search terms to make sure that the auto campaign doesn't go off and spend your budget where Amazon wants you to spend it, as opposed to where your business needs you to spend it.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so this is our final listing, and it's for IQ Bar, and they've done a really cool job on their primary image, right? So they are showing the 3 flavors of the bars. They have emphasized the amount of those benefits, right? So we've got the amount of protein that's in there, the amount of sugars that's in there, the amount of fiber that's in there. So on a search results page, when I see this versus everything else, I'm going to be able to way clearer understand and succinctly and quickly understand what's the product, what are the key benefits, and yes, I'm interested, I'm going to click.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I think the one bit that's letting it down, probably forgot to mention protein in the title. That would have helped to pick that one up a bit. And I'm just seeing it now, but I think that second image is in nutrition's table. I don't think you're going to be too happy with it.
No, this could be better, right? So this is probably a little bit lazy. They've probably just grabbed it from some of the branding artwork. But there's 2 things that are happening on this listings page, right? So you've got the nutrition information and you've got the ingredients. These are separate things. These are not the same, right? Because there's a different benefit for each one. The nutrition information tells you how much protein I'm getting or how in line with my diet is this. And they should emphasize the key winning points in there and also do it in a brand style, not this kind of like lazy style. The second is the ingredients. If you have really clean ingredients, great. Emphasize that. Talk about how natural they are or how clean your ingredients are. Those are separate benefits that a customer is going to be looking for. So these should be on separate pages and it should be looking a little bit more sexy than they do.
I think it's really important to say this process is really key to optimizing your listings, is to go through and kind of pick out everything, just work out how you can be doing everything better. And even if you've done it once, you probably should repeat this over and over again through time, right?
Yeah, a listing is kind of like a living document. It's constantly getting updated, constantly getting improved, because that's the whole thing. That you're going to be getting more and more data, and the data is going to tell you what you should be optimizing for. And things may change. There may be a sudden trend somewhere. There may be a TikTok reel that goes out that blows up, and you need to optimize for that. Or you need to pivot. So your listings and your what it looks like, they're in constant flux. They're constantly changing, and you should review them on a regular basis.
I just want to go back to that point we made at the very beginning when we were talking about our Illy listing. It's that making small changes here can have dramatic impacts on your bottom line. So this is where you can really get an inflection point. If you just hit the right notes on this, improving your CTR is like one of the click-through rate is one of the most overlooked metrics around. And this should be clear on what this is. This is talking about how many people from the search results page get improving that click-through rate to your product details page. Whatever your conversion rate is on your product details page will probably stay the same, if not improve. If you can improve that click-through rate from the search results, even by 5%, that 5% translates to 5% more orders. It's incredible how important that metric is. So worth spending the time doing this optimization.
While we're on this then, should we just go through a search results page and just talk through the key things that you want to think about for that first battle that you need to win, right? So if we look at, say, protein bars, and let's have a look at what comes up, and then just going to give you the key things that you want to optimize for the search results page.
Right, what's the first thing overall that you think? I mean, where should it start?
Yeah, you want to be visible. That's the first thing. And how do you become visible?
Love that.
You need to have the Prime badge, right? The Prime badge is what helps with that because most people will filter out for non-Prime products. So that's the most basic thing you can do and doesn't require a massive shift.
And it's that delivery promise, right? It's how Amazon actually shows it, is it translates not only showing the Prime badge, but also telling the person how soon they're going to get this. And that delivery promise is key. So I agree with you. First thing,
All right.
visibility. Okay, Prime badge. What's next?
Okay, so the next few, I would say kind of sit in an equal kind of position. It's going to be things like your amount of reviews and your primary image, because that's where your eyes are going to scan to, right? So I'm going to look at the product, maybe be enticed, and I'm going to scan down to the amount of reviews it's got and be like, cool, this looks good. Does it taste good? Do customers agree with what my instinct is? If so, great, I'm going to click, right? And so that's going to be really important, the amount of reviews and your review score that you have.
I think that's really interesting. You've chosen that primary image and that social proof above the title. And I think you're absolutely right here. I think people will read the primary image before they read the title.
Exactly. And so again, those USPs that we talk about having, how many bars are there, how many grams of protein, are there any other key benefits, have them really visibly clear. And it makes all the difference when you're looking at your competition who don't have that. And you can say, great, this is there, I'm going to click.
However, that doesn't mean that the title is not important, right? Because that's the secondary point. That's just that reinforcement that the person's in the right spot. This is the right product for them. So the title, I would say, probably comes next. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And so this is, you've got a certain number of characters you can have in there, about 250 characters. The first 72 are really, really important because they don't get truncated by Amazon. So make sure you make the most of those first 72.
Particularly on mobile, right? I know we're looking here, we're sharing screen on desktop, but mobile, much more compressed in terms of size. So really important, those first 72 characters.
Yeah. And then next, I'd say it's badges, right? So there's two things in badges. There's the bestseller badges, the Amazon's Choice badges, but you can also influence badges by having little promotions or coupons. Those are also, in my opinion, little badges that will kind of make you stand out versus everything else. And so you can see on a listing, on a search results page, this is the top selling product. This is Amazon's Choice. By the way, these are also on offer.
And then finally, I guess, is price, right? And everyone wants to know that. You just need a justifiable price, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Exactly. So your image helps justify the price. Same with your review score. So those are all important. So if you want to charge more, make sure your image and your review score kind of make that clear for the customer. This is why it costs more. So there's a whole bunch of things you can do to improve your listing, but ultimately what you want to think about is your customer. Put yourself in the position of the customer who's looking for this product. Does everything written on the page, does it talk to that customer? Do you have the search terms that they're likely to put in peppered throughout the listing? On your images, is your primary image likely to win on the search results page by, again, emphasizing those benefits to the customer? And then do the rest of the images that you have there, hopefully you've used up 6 or 7 of them at a minimum. On each image, are you talking about one benefit per image and backing up with features? Not the other way around, benefits first and then features, and only one per image. If you are doing these basic things and you are adding in the other little supplemental indicators to a customer, things like your delivery promise and your reviews, and the scores are okay. If you're doing these other bits as well, great. You are probably on the way to like a very, very good listing, and you should hopefully be reviewing it on a regular basis based on the data to make sure you're optimizing as you go because things change.
Love this. Okay, Ali, thank you for taking us through this. Really enjoyed going through it with you today.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. This is awesome. And just a couple basic things, a couple basic fundamental things that you get right can make a massive difference to your top line and bottom line. If you have a listing that you want us to review, send it to us. We would love to do that. We're happy to review it for you. Drop a comment or send it to us by email, and we'll review it. And if you want, we can review it on the pod.
Look forward to hearing from you. Peace out.
Much love.
One love.
One love.